some of that money out your
pocket. This is not normal.
After 2 shootings at East High School in less than 2 months, anger is obvious.
This is traumatic. They shouldn't have to do this.
Parents confront the mayor and police chief
You guys don't get it?
as they wait outside the crime scene to see if their kids are okay yet again.
It's scary. You know, it's like this is a second shooting this year. It's just scary.
Tiffany Wright knows the frustration.
There's nothing you can do. You're nervous, you're anxious, you just want to see your kids' faces and make sure they're okay.
At the same intersection where an East High School student was shot and killed last month.
Hey, this is too much like not right.
Parents like Lawrence Gauchon
You gotta be here.
wait to reunite with their kids.
Isaiah.
Yeah.
What floor are you on?
3rd floor.
Okay.
He won't hand up the call with his son until he sees him come out of the school.
Say right now, I'm scared. I'm tired of my son going through this. Like it's his freshman year. He's never been exposed to this much violence ever in his life.
Oh, it's just again and again, it just never seems to stop, and there's no solution.
2 administrators shot by a student with a gun.
He just said, I was scared, I'm scared, and there's a lockdown again.
Again.
All these kids want to do is learn.
Again.
That's it. This is it, man.
There are few answers that calm the frustration.
These are our kids. I don't want to come and get my kid and have her take her to the funeral on a casket. I don't want that. What are you guys going to do?
Outside East High School,
There they are.
Tiffany finds relief again.
Hello.
Hi, babies. Hey, I'm so glad y'all safe.
The sounds of tradition echo every day at Fort Logan National Cemetery. The final toll of military life feels familiar.
The tradition and the history that's contained in a national cemetery.
You know, we're all here for you.
Oh my gosh.
But the path here was surreal for Danielle McCarthy.
No, there is nothing traditional about this story other than guy meets girl, girl and guy fall in love, and embark on a journey.
She lost her husband David 6 years ago. Then she worried his body was gone forever.
The funeral home I used to cremate my husband did not. They dismembered and sold his body parts without me knowing, without my family. This impacted 800 other families. The 2 individuals who did this are finally serving time that they deserve.
The FBI couldn't track hundreds of the stolen bodies, but they found David.
And I don't know what made us special to get him back.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please follow me inside.
The other families can't keep the promise Danielle fulfills today.
We're assembled here today to pay a lasting tribute of respect to our departed comrade.
She's finally saying goodbye.
Let us pray for our comrade David McCarthy Jr.
Finally, able to follow the tradition her husband wanted.
Honor guard. He's in. Arms.
On behalf of the President of the United States Army, and a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your honorable and faithful service.
Order. Arms. Forward. March.
I think for him it's peace now. He can truly rest.
You got this.
At last, surrounded by family and friends, Danielle's promise to David is kept.
I love you so much.
This is kind of like a funeral to me for these people.
Saying goodbye is sacred.
You know, it's a very solemn event,
What brings this group together is not.
so it's good to let them go. Oh, I feel like I can get a hold of it.
Even just hours before,
it's heavier.
Judy Kressler still held on.
Let me just figure, you just lift it.
The funeral home that gave Judy these ashes told her they were her father.
This is the cremains, the mixed cremains of different people. We don't know who they are. They're not my father.
Her father, Harold Kressler. The FBI told her the funeral home, Sunset Mesa, sold his body.
And that just shows my dad. He was always happy and laughing, and he was jovial.
Just like they sold hundreds of others as part of the lucrative trade of human remains.
What the FBI told me was that his body was sold to Global Anatomy Project in Saudi Arabia as a whole body.
The funeral home owners are now in prison, leaving victims' bags filled with a haphazard mix of unidentified remains.
Because it goes against nature. It goes against what's right.
Judy wants to bring these ashes the dignity her dad never got.
We are going to Delta, Colorado to scatter the ashes of these mystery people that we all have, that we don't know who they are. It's the right thing to do. It's a respectful thing to do.
She's not alone.
Unbelievable.
Other victims of the Sunset Mesa funeral home have the wrong remains too.
It's still surreal.
The ones Debbie Schultz brought
It's still surreal.
are still sealed in evidence bags.
I must be making this up. This is so ridiculous. But here are the rest of you. We were going to have a disco party once they were arrested.
Dark humor gives pockets of light to this horror.
This really happened. Mm-hmm. Because doesn't it seem like that sometimes? Like
you wake up in the morning like, did that really happen?
I must be exaggerating this or something. This can't be.
These are the only people who get it. The only people who understand the unimaginable.
My dad was turned into a plastic display, basically.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just ashes, they're people. Real people that had lives and hopes and dreams and memories and love and were loved, and I just think they deserve better than what they got.
The evil won't go away. But today, respect still has a chance.
They deserve peace too, and I think that the river is about the most peaceful place that I can think of.
Debbie and Judy won't ever get to say goodbye to their loved ones the way they wanted.
Why Harold, not Harold?
Yeah, not Harold.
But together, they honor people they'll never know.
The people that are in these ashes, I hope some measure of peace is finally coming for them.
I just feel like I did right by these people. They don't belong in that box. They belong here with nature, and that's where they are forever.
Friday nights are for getting together.
It's dancing time.
Darn Thirsty Cowboys be playing.
It's the hot spot in beautiful downtown Drake, Colorado.
Just like the sun.
Jerry Schaefer, Darn Thirsty Cowboys, have been around forever.
The sound of the guitar can't drown out conversations of what happened here a decade ago.
The 2013 flood, it just rained for days and kept coming, eating away.
Everything on this mountain you think of in terms of before the flood and after the flood. I mean, it's such a historic event.
Memories linger in this bar.
This is me when I was 23. Do I look like a hippie or something there?
Yes.
When Jerry Schaefer stops being a singer, he starts being a grandpa.
Yeah, it was pretty traumatic because the water was clear up way above the river on top of the road, wasn't it? Yeah.
5 generations of his family have called the Bid Thompson Canyon home.
This is Drake, who is named after the town of Drake because we've been here so long.
Life up here is at the mercy of the river. The grandkids still learn about the floods of 76 and 13. Jerry lived through them both.
It's just like a war zone is all you can think of. There were houses on top of each other. There were just mangled cars. The water's such a tremendous force that you can't stop it. And after the 2013 flood, we were standing out in the back looking at that.
The floodwaters caused $4 billion in damage 10 years ago.
Took me right back to 76 when I was actually washed downstream. That just churning and that water just tumbling around in it. That's the flood in 76.
Survive, rebuild, prepare. A cycle around here.
So you guys know what to do if we have another flood, right? We got it planned to go to high water, get in the cross river.
Back.
Yeah.
The same routine is familiar.
Can I join you?
A few miles up the road.
Well, our dog was kind of chilling over there. She didn't even want to come when I called her.
Jim and Pat Morton enjoy the calm.
That Colorado blue sky.
Just like Jerry, they've lived through days that are far different.
What, the flood 10 years ago in 2013, and spent 5 days here and left in a helicopter. And
we reference it because it changed things and did damage that some people are still having to deal with.
A decade after the flood made headlines,
we're dealing with this.
The river hasn't slowed down.
Last night's flash flood washed the culverts out. Well, this is one of the 2 5-foot culverts that we had.
It would have been easy to leave this place.
Try and get at least a little bit of it out of the way here.
After everything Jim and Pat experienced.
My dad actually drowned in the 76 flood, but that didn't sour us from our love of this area. He absolutely loved this place, and we share that.
A love for the canyon that keeps this family here.
Oh, Dad'd be thrilled.
He would. It's almost hard to talk about it without getting emotional, but he would.
Yeah.
He would love it.
In this part of Colorado, stories are born from the river.
It definitely brings people a lot closer together and brings the goodness out in it.
The bends and curves and power change. Yet the people who live here will always stay together.
You know, those of us that live up here, we love this place.
It's home, and you just have to be prepared.
It's very special.
Exactly. Yeah.
You kind of have to be a different breed to want to stay here, you know.
In Drake, I'm Mark Salinger, 9 News.
Yeah!
So it's very sad to see this damage and destruction and what we're deling with here.
I'm Nelson Garcia reporting in Boulder County, where the rain continues to fall as it has been for the past several days.
You know, I thought 100 years this would never happen. I would never do this. But here we are today.
To see it floating away, that's life in there. Abby, it's worse than it's ever been, honey. It's taken over everything. That's why Grandpa wanted you to come out. It's already in Aunt Mickey's camper.
We are hearing reports now that rainfall has accumulated up to 10 inches in some areas in the last 48 hours, and that is causing serious flooding problems in this area.
It never stopped. It rained hard, and then it rained harder all night. Well, I slept with my pants on last night, so I could get out in a hurry if I had to.
Chopper after chopper are flying rescue missions into the mountains. The National Guard here states that this is the single largest air rescue campaign since Hurricane Katrina.
I cried a lot, and I didn't want to go because I didn't want to say goodbye to my town of Jamestown.
Nothing has the power of Mother Nature, but we didn't know she would take it out on Jamestown.
So this house here, you can hardly even see what it was. It looked like there were like 4 different Colorado rivers raging through here. It was unbelievable.
Kept thinking for the best, but it didn't get better, it got worse.
We're kind of done with all of this. Some people's homes were like violently shifted off their foundations. You know, they were violently ripped apart or completely destroyed. So this would have been Lower Main Street right here. You can see between the power poles there. This would have been...
This was the main street.
And I guess the number one thing would be how the people just bond together. Give it a few years and you'll drive up here and you'll go to the Merc and have a cup of coffee or beer or whatever and a meal, and everybody will be sitting around shooting the bull smiling. You know, that's my hope.
This is Boulder Creek. Look at how the water is rushing here, because this is just incredible to look at this creek and see it rushing like this.
Man's a hero.
Yeah.
Save my apartment.
Do what I
Hero.
can.
Honestly, woke up early in the morning, saved it.
Yeah, it was intense. We made a little sign once things were under control, of course. Yesterday, made a help out of beer sign. So
there's no power, there's no water, and then the worst thing is we ran out of beer. So then that was our own natural disaster, and it's been a problem.
Good evening from Big Thompson Canyon, Colorado. It's the site of some of the most dramatic images of damage from this historic flood.
Every one of these pieces of debris is a piece of somebody's life and dreams that are flowing or stuck on a riverbank.
This has been a very hectic 20 hours or so for people living here in Evans.
It went from, being just grass and a quarter of a mile away to waist deep in just a couple of minutes. This is our life. This is how I make my money and my business, and it's all gone now. So as you can tell, it gets emotional. It's devastating, just to say the least.
I teach in Lyons, I live in Lyons, my children go to school there. It's the best town in the world.
What did you like about Lyons?
I just like the little town, the little town community. It's a good place.
It's bad. It's real bad. Obviously, there's destruction all around.
There's no electricity. There's no water treatment. There's no wastewater. There's no telephones.
There's no way out for us right now because both roads have collapsed.
A lot of people didn't fare well. Welcome home. I could be worse, but I lost everything, and that's just the way it is.
Normal? It will never get back to the old normal.
This is an event that will be thought about for a while now.
You gonna come back?
Yeah. I ain't going nowhere. Because I love this place, man. It's just gonna make us stronger. That's what it's gonna do.
We are attending the Peach Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, they called it the Peach Bowl. I don't know if you'd call it a tournament or just a nice celebration. What are the Colorado Peaches?
What are they? A women's senior softball team.
They're an institution.
We're a mixture of age and ability. It began in 1992 with Chloe.
You know everybody on that picture? Nancy joined the Peaches in 1993, and she pitched and pitched and pitched until the two of us retired.
The Peaches would have died if it hadn't been for Maggie.
And there's Maggie. We have to give credit to Maggie for that. For carrying on the Peaches after we retired.
She's on.
There's a hit and a half.
They don't induct teams into the Hall of Fame. So I am honored to represent the Colorado Peaches.
The Huntsman World Senior Games.
The Huntsman's Hall of Fame. And it's well deserved.
To represent all the women on whose shoulders I'm standing, really. Yeah, on the back of our shirts it says, Peach, what does it say on the back of our shirts? Peaches forever. Oh, do we mean it?
It's just so much fun.
Atta girl! Way to go! Yes, it's just fun.
Yay!
Way to go.
Two people are dead in Loveland after a man shot them and then took off to Erie. They said they were looking for a guy named Javier Acevedo, 49 years old.
660 Crimson Way, if you guys can get in there quick, he's getting close.
That is Javier Acevedo. We've already told you what he did last summer, and now we're learning more about what didn't happen before the shooting. And that story starts with a phone call.
My mother called me on the phone. I was like, I was at the scene within 20 minutes.
Garen Dom got a call that something happened at his sister Lindsay's house, and it's something that he always knew could eventually come one day. In July of last year, Javier Acevedo went to his ex-girlfriend's house, Lindsay's house, and shot and killed her and her 16-year-old daughter, Meadow Center.
That's your suspect. Still holding the rifle, still holding the magazine.
The footage we got from the Loveland Police Department really shows just how chaotic that day was.
If you do not comply with commands, force me to use against you.
Police are scrambling, and they eventually find Javier Acevedo in Erie, and he is holding the gun that he used to kill Lindsay and Meadow that day. He ends up killing himself too.
It's like your entire life starts over on this day, you know, everything, it changes everything.
We know that he purchased the gun he used to kill Lindsay and Meadow a few months before a court required him to give up his guns.
They could have gotten that gun, you know. He should have had to physically relinquish that gun.
Acevedo's ex-wife asked a Denver County court to grant her a criminal protection order, and that's what they did, and as a part of that, they required Acevedo to give up any guns he had at the time. On the firearm relinquishment form, you can see that Javier Acevedo checked a box saying he did not possess a gun at the time. We know that he purchased the gun a few months before he signed a piece of paper saying he had to relinquish any firearms he had.
You just take his word for it? No, absolutely not. You couldn't take this person's word for anything. The guy was a compulsive liar. What do you think he intended when he bought that shotgun? That's what I think about more than anything now.
This case was handled by the Denver City Attorney's Office, and that office said they don't have a role in verifying the truthfulness of what's said on a firearm relinquishment form. Basically, they just don't check.
But unless someone is to say that you are lying on that form or committing perjury, there is no way to really enforce that.
Katie Wolf is the public policy director for Violence Free Colorado, and she really gets this stuff because she works with lawmakers in our state on bills related to domestic violence.
Denver sees about more than 2,500 domestic violence cases at the municipal level every year. And so it'd be really hard and a lot of resources for them to be able to investigate every single relinquishment form.
Garen was really upset that no one checked, and he thinks that that should change.
They're just like, oh, here, sign here. Oh, you're already in enough trouble. Here, just check this little box to say you don't have any guns. How easy would it have been to find out that he had purchased that firearm?
Katie knows that we can't create a database like that because our state constitution makes it illegal.
It would be a lot easier if there were a way to just check to see if people had guns, if there was a database where people's names were listed. The Colorado Constitution prohibits that from happening.
Lindsay went to a Larimer County court twice asking for a protection order against Acevedo, and both times the judge denied her request, saying there just wasn't enough evidence. In one of those requests, she said Acevedo threatened to kill her. When she was denied the protection order the second time, it was just a month before Acevedo killed her.
Feeling even remotely like that was enough is the biggest thing for me. I feel so, I mean, that's just the guilt that I deal with like every single day.
Garen was incredibly upset. He felt like he put too much trust and faith in a system that was supposed to protect his sister.
You always are gonna feel like there's so much more you could have done, but I mean, I feel like a total sucker.
He had a lot of hesitancies talking about his sister's case, but because there were so many warning signs, he felt it was important to talk about really the worst day of his life.
It's hard for me to, you know, look back and think about things like, well, like Meadow, for example, you know, and look at that picture and go, oh, it's hard for me to remember. Oh yeah, remember she was such a happy kid, you know, and things like that. That stuff is really hard to even fathom now.
On the day that
Lizzie Daum and Meadow Center were killed, the 16-year-old had just finished her internship with the Colorado Youth Congress.
People need to hear this, and people need to know, yeah, this is the state you live in.
2 times, a woman in Loveland asked a judge to make her ex-boyfriend give up his guns and stay away from her home.